Hola, people. All right, it's September 2nd. It's the day after our 11th wedding anniversary, which surprisingly turned out pretty well for a day that Mr. F had completely forgotten about. No, truthfully, this week has been really, really stressful, and so we both were just kind of like, whatever, I don't really care. Which allowed him to kind of forget more than he might have otherwise. Okay, break it down. Here's all the major stuff going down. Mr. F, as you probably know, quit his job, got a different job, resigned, and is moving on to another magazine in the area. This is good because he really needed to get out of what had become an incredibly toxic, horrific working environment. So that's good. Some of that stress has not resolved itself, and last week was really stressful because his supervisor, who's been stealing his work and putting it on his own personal portfolio to seemingly try to get a different job. Obviously, that's a difficult problem. And Mr. F has been like, I don't know. I mean, he's not handling it the way I would handle it. Let's just say that. He's been a little bit more, I don't know, I would have just, handled this straight up, right away, aggressive style. But he's not. And so, because of that, when he resigned and he told the boss he was resigning, he didn't mention that aspect, thinking he didn't want to have a negative reason why he was resigning. He just wanted to resign and then approach it later. Of course, that isn't really necessarily going to happen because the supervisor who is stealing the work, on the last day they should have worked together, and then Matt had another week and a half to work and they were never going to cross paths. He sent the supervisor an email saying, please take my work off your portfolio so I don't have to bring it up with the boss. And so obviously the supervisor freaked out, locked him out of his computer, gave him no notice and said, drop off all work-related things, which is, of course, the car, phone, iPad, cameras, computer, so much stuff. And Mr. F, who I think was kind of, truthfully, a little bit naive that wouldn't happen, hadn't backed everything up. So he's lost a whole bunch of personal stuff. So that was stressful, and then still he hasn't told the boss about it, which I think, let's get on that. I mean, it's illegal. So, and I just think, she should know. She should know that that's who she has working for her. Anyway, at a certain point, I just have to let it go, because that kind of injustice can just eat me up. I mean, I am outraged. So that's going on during the same week that the kids start their new school, which is also obviously a very stressful transition. And so during that time, Mr. F didn't have work to go to, which we thought he did, and didn't have a car or a phone or all the things that would make transporting the kids back and forth to school 3 times a day easier. So, and he's underfoot all day. I'm trying to manage all this other stuff. So yeah, it was a bad week. All right, school started, baby, no problems. Transitioned to kindergarten like a champ, like you'd expect her to, no problems. Got no worries about her, having a great time. I think it's a great school choice for her. Loving the half day. The teacher's fantastic. Awesome decision. Kid, rough adjustment. Every problem we had at the public school, instantly had back again. And it's concerning. So we have a 90-day probation period as a new family at the school, which is great because it means we don't have a contract until 90 days. And we can take her out at any time, and we're going to just give it however much time. Truthfully, everyone, thinks less time at this point is better if you're going to take her out. Let's reduce the trauma and just make it a fast break. The things that are great about this are, and this is why we're doing this, is to this was going to be the last chance until later grades. If we couldn't go to this smaller school where we're really condensing the extra stressors, or eliminating them, and if everything was still just as bad, then obviously school in a school setting might just be too stressful of a choice for someone with this level of anxiety, and that's totally fine with us. So we just want to rule it out and know so that we can like just move forward doing whatever we're going to do. Go back to homeschooling or whatever. The homeschooling was great. Not a problem for either her or I. Doing great. I mean, like, exceptionally positive experience for everyone. The only reason we're doing this is because she always liked going to school. You know, a lot of times people forget, like, she went to school she went to 2 years of preschool, and she went to kindergarten and first grade, and then we tried second grade, and she was only pulled out for third grade and part of second grade. So, you know, she's just like a schoolgirl. She likes it. But as she's gotten older, her anxiety and stress issues and the level of school that, you know, triggers that and those different things, it's gotten to a point where you have to kind of just make a decision for someone's mental health, like what's worth what, you know. Liking school because the theory of school is what you like is different from really living an entire day under like an unbearable level of stress, just trying to perform and never feeling good about yourself, and then coming home and having, you know, even more stress because you still have to do homework and things you have to, you know, like more things to manage. There's no downtime and no break from it. I don't think that's a healthy decision for anyone ever, and I certainly don't think that's a healthy decision for a child, you know, if you can not have to do that. So that's that. The problem with kid is that, and across the board pretty much, anxiety disorders are not really recognized or treated with the same level of seriousness or belief that they're real. You know, I think anyone with an anxiety disorder knows that, like, even as an adult, like, no one really wants to validate anxiety as a serious, real disorder. And, you know, she doesn't really qualify for any kind of assistance or IP because she can function and do well in every area of schooling, you know, within reason. She can't do as well as she could if she weren't stressed out. But, you know, and as the unfortunate reality is, people with anxiety disorders, like, it doesn't get better as you age. It only gets worse, and we're just kind of bearing witness to that, you know, and just trying to do the best we can. Because I'm qualified to teach her at home and happy to do that, I think, you know, and we've tried it and we know that works. I was nervous to try it the first time, but now I know, like, without a question, like, oh, it's totally doable. I could do that, no problem. We just have to get to the point where everyone in the family is on board that, you know, which balances out what, you know, benefits versus costs, and see what we think after a month or so. It's a lot of stress, people, and I just think, Lord, life is too short, and there's enough hard things to deal with in your life that you don't have to choose hard things, you know, because enough other hard stuff is going to happen. So there's that. And I know a lot of people think, and this is the problem with the teacher, oh, she's got to, like, you know, she's got to learn, she's going to have to, like, do this, and it's just not true. People with certain, you know, disadvantages or disabilities or whatever, like, you don't necessarily ever get to not have that or perform past it. You have to learn ways to work around it, and unfortunately a school setting is not always the most accommodating place to be able to work around those kind of things. We can do that at home, and maybe there's a school somewhere, but it probably costs $40,000 a year where they'd be willing to let you work around a problem just because it works better for you. But if you're going to go to school and all day be called slow to your face, which is what has happened at this school, which for some reason this teacher doesn't seem to think that that's demeaning or disparaging, because she's just kind of a matter-of-fact person, but, like, she's slow because of her anxiety issues, and she's trying to do everything perfectly, and you either are going to do it perfectly or you're going to do it fast. And if you're going to continue to praise perfect work, you're not helping us, like, you know, break the cycle. So, you know what I mean? It's just challenging. So we'll see. It's been stressful. On other fronts, uniforms are going well. I do have to do my round of washing all of those again. I don't know, people. I really deluded myself into thinking this was going to be the perfect answer and it was going to be a great experience and we were going to just be like, yes, that's a perfect place. She can go there all the way through 8th grade and then like she'll be ready to transition to public school. No, probably not. And you know what? I don't know. I don't even care because I just know so many adults who have either ADD or OCD or, you know, severe anxiety, and you function, you have jobs, you make your life work out, you have more resources to yourself to be able to, you know, organize your life in a way that allows you to function at your best. And everyone with those issues has incredible gifts that come with it. And when you are allowed to organize your life in the way that works, you're allowed to use those gifts in a way that, you know, allow you to be incredibly successful in those areas. And I know that to be true, and I believe that will be true for my daughter as well. And I just don't think that that always comes true if you spend your school years feeling like you are less than all the time and not having the maturity or really the autonomy, you know, to be able to say this system does not work for me and I can't make this system work. You know, like there's no way for me to work in this system. Sometimes that's just true. So that's where we're at.